You're listening to The Sizzle.
You know what it is. You know who it is. It's the Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. You know what time it is. It's time for the Hot Money segment, and you know who is in the building. The dopest chick on your timeline. You know who she is. She's Cimone Casson.
Iron Skillet Sports presents.
Look, we got to talk about hot money, hot stocks, what's an I.P.O. Bro, we're going to get it in. We're going to talk about all of it right here. So let's just start off with everything. So we're right in. We just jump right in. Cimone, how are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous. Of course, you already know anytime I get a chance to hang out with you two, I'm doing even better. So thank you so much for having me again. And you know, one of my favorite things to do is to talk about money, stocks, and weed, but also to be on hot money.
Girl, you are always hot and you're always ready. So let's get ready to talk about some hot money here on the Hot Money segment.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the stock market in the pandemic. What are your thoughts right now on the economic trends that have developed in this unprecedented time in America's financial history?
Well, okay, so we have a very unique situation that's going on. And as you guys hear me talk about all the time, there's only two streets that really matter. That's Main Street, which that's going to be our political ring. And then you also have Wall Street. And so right now, Wall Street and Main Street are kind of having a difference of opinion. And when I say that, I say, of course, economically, we're looking at definitely some downturn as far as economics and income for our lower and our middle class being wiped out by the pandemic. We're creating a whole new normal, but yet and still, we're still having this fledgling, really kind of rallying stock market. And so one of the things that we're looking at is they're not speaking the same language. And so there possibly can be a time when those roads cross. That's one idea of it. The other idea is that at some point, because of our new normal and new things that are coming, these other companies like our tech companies can really become fledgling companies that can make a lot of money. So there are many companies who have really seen some record numbers, not just in their stock prices, but also in their revenue due to COVID. And a lot of those are going to be tech companies or companies that we've seen as essential products or essential workers. But again, we also have to understand that we may be approaching a recession. We're looking at a lot of different things, especially with mortgages and rent. The income, the unemployment income has been cut. A lot of companies have decided or have actually acknowledged the fact that they can work without having the extreme overhead of a brick and mortar. So there's a lot of things that are going to be going on. This can work out one or two ways. But one thing that we have to understand is out of pandemics, out of recessions, and out of depressions, those are times when we create mass amounts of wealth. And that's how that starts, right? So a lot of our biggest millionaires and a lot of our biggest millionaires and people that have made a lot of money and a lot of major corporations have come out of situations like this.
Cimone, what industries right now, if somebody's looking to invest in the stock market? I mean, we are seeing a separation. You're seeing the stock market hitting record highs. You see, and it's lagging behind the economy. Like they're going in two completely different directions. What are some industries right now that you think people need to be looking at to get into the stock market?
So we say this all the time, and I'm glad. That's a great question. So one of the things that I would probably say is definitely you want to look at companies that have become your new normal, right? So new normal definitely on top is going to be anything that's tech. If you are workplace, which is a company that you can actually, it monitors everything from your work and from your job. That's a great opportunity to possibly look in. I know my mother is the Zoom queen, right? So Zoom, my mother handles the Zoom for her church, and she also handles it for the school system that she used to work for. And so that lets me know that's a part of our life that's not going to probably leave, right? Even with glitches. So technology is going to be a great place for you to actually look at. And then also look at stocks and look at companies that you participate with all the time and every day. And that way you can actually be able to, when the stocks and companies are going to go up and down no matter what, right? They're going to rally up and down. And so the key to it is not necessarily picking the winning stock. I mean, we all want to have bought Netflix when it first went to an IPO, right? We all would have wanted that, but who would have known? Right? And so the chances of us knowing which one is going to be the next Netflix or the next Amazon is very slim to none. But if you purchase a company that you're familiar with, that has become a part of your new normal, if something happens in the news and it goes up and down, you're not ready to sell because you're still buying the product and you know that the product is still good. So that's how that goes.
You know, we have a new segment here. We're going to do a segment with you called The Smoke. How about that? Let's try this. The Smoke. And this is where we give everybody information, what it is they need to be looking at, what it is that we're talking about. We're going to take people baby steps and we're going to walk them through and see if they know what it is you're talking about and you can explain it better. So let's start off in this segment. Let's talk about what is an IPO. I know you just mentioned it with Netflix, but what is an IPO?
So wonderful. I'm so glad you asked that. A lot of people ask me that question, right? So IPO stands for initial public offering. And that is where a privately owned company, meaning a company that you and I actually own. So you and I own a company and it's privately owned. So we're offering that company, we own it, we run it, we make the decisions and everything else. An initial public offering allows other individuals to be able to invest in a company. So they become shareholders, they become owners of this particular company. And those companies are usually sold on some type of exchange, where it's the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, or what have you. Then they're being able to participate on those exchanges. And so in turn, that company issues shares of the company, of the ownership of the company, and those shares can be bought on the exchange, and their prices go up and down based on the supply and demand. Make sense?
Makes sense. That makes a lot
of sense. All right, cool.
sense.
I'm glad I got that into you real quick. What else you got?
All right, Jay, I know you got some more questions. What would be a next question that you would ask right from this point?
Well, there's two things I want to ask. First thing, it seems like the government now is making it easier for companies, smaller companies, to be listed on these stock exchanges, and I would like if you would just go into that a little bit, and also I would like you to you were talking about earlier about stock splits, and I know a lot of people. I don't really know exactly what that is. You hear about a split stocking, but you know a stock split. Yeah. I can't even say it right. I don't know what I'm talking about, but. We want just, how does that work? And as an investor, why is that something that I should be paying attention to?
Perfect. That is a wonderful question. So one of the things that I want to talk about, and I think we touched bases on it last week when I was on the show. So my company, just so everybody knows, my company is one of my companies is Cannas Capital LLC, which is an insurance agency, and we insure cannabis and craft beer companies from seed to sale and everything in between, right? And so one of the things that is painstaking in the cannabis industry is that there is not a large enough market of underwriters that create policies. And so just to put that in perspective, if you had a car business, you would call me and you say you want general liability. I could probably send it up through the state and get through underwriters, and I can reach out to 3,000 underwriters that would give me a premium. Well, in cannabis, I probably have 3. So the market is not set up. So our insurance agency is turning into an insurance company so that we could actually cover this. The reason why I'm sharing this is that we're doing what we call a regulation CF, and CF stands for crowdfunding. Now, we've heard about what crowdfunding is. There's 3 different types. So one crowdfunding is GoFundMe, right? So I have a problem. I have something that a charity, I want you to give me money. You don't get nothing in return. I hope it works out for you. The next way is going to be for us to be able to do is regulation is going to be under crowdfunding, where Kickstarter. So I have something, and then you have, and then in turn, I'm gonna give you a t-shirt. So I have an idea, I have an art project, and then I'm going to give you something behind it, right? So a t-shirt, a button, or whatever. Then the other one is regulation crowdfunding. Regulation crowdfunding is under the Jobs Act, from 2012 from Obama. Okay. So at that point, smaller companies could be able to do a couple things. So in 12 months, you are able to raise $1 million in 12 months. That's the maximum amount. After you raise that $1 million, then you can go into a Reg A plus and a Reg D that would then put you on the stock exchange. So that's why we see so many now being able to take on that opportunity, because you can actually get the word out and get the information out in a very short amount of time because of social media and God and Google.
Wow, that's right? Amazing. Right.
So that's the answer for that.
Okay.
Then we also, I think the second part of the question was about stock splits, right?
Right.
So if you've been watching the news, you've been listening to the news and everything, one of the things that is really, really important is us seeing Apple just recently did a stock split. Okay. And so this is actually their 4th time doing a stock split since they've been inception. They did it in 2000. They did it in, I think they did it in 1985. They did it in 2002.
Now,
they've done it plenty of times.
Can you break it down for some of us out here that don't really know what is a stock split and how are they able to? How are they able to do 4 or 5 times, right?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. So just so you know, this isn't like something new for Apple to be able to do it. So they've done it plenty of times in their inception. Yeah. So what a stock split is that what you would do is, let's say you have one stock, right? Mm-hmm. And that one stock is $100. Okay. That's the price of it, right?
Right. Pretty expensive.
So instead of you having one stock for $100, you split it, and the holders of it now have 2 stocks, $50 a piece, that are $100. That come to be $100. So you split it in half.
So that makes it easier than if I can't really afford that $100 stock, I might be able to afford one $50 stock, so more people can come in and actually purchase the stock.
Exactly. So that is why someone would do it. So let's break it down. A company that's in a sector. And so sectors are going to be like tech, they would be financial, consumer goods, all of this other stuff, right? So if you have a company that is in that sector, they can perhaps be in a situation where their company or their price of their stock outprices the other people in the sector, right?
Okay, right.
And so if it outprices, just think about it like this. If you go into a grocery store, I always tell people when they go to the market, you go into the grocery store, and once you go into that grocery store, you go in and you look at the different brands and you look at whatever. Well, if you definitely, I mean, you know, some people will not buy off-brand products, but if you have one that's possibly on sale, you're probably going to buy the one that's on sale, right? So just let's put this in perspective. If I'm saying I like tech or I like cannabis, right?
Right.
Of course, if I only have $1,000 to invest, or $10,000 to invest, I would probably look at the companies that were a little bit underpriced, right? Or not cheap, but cheaper than the other ones, so that I could be able to grow and what have you. If I had a large amount of money, then I would invest in the big ones. So one of the reasons why a lot of companies do it is because they want to be more attractive to smaller investors, right? And they want to be able to not be so out of price for in their sector. Now, why is that important today? Let's talk about why this is important today. Now we have Robinhood, and we have more Robinhood investors than we have anything else right now. And the average Robinhood investor probably invests about $200 to $1,000 on the average. So if they're doing that, they can't afford to put all their eggs in one basket and buy a $300, $400, or $1,000 stock. They have to look at small ones. And what the powers that be and Wall Street understand that they can really move the needle up and down with Robinhood investors.
Wow. You know, it's absolutely amazing now how they're allowing your average layperson to be get more involved in investing. And Robinhood's almost like, it almost seems like it's like a fund or something. Like you're buying a part of a fund. You know what I'm saying? So, well,
Robinhood is a broker dealer and it's an app. Yeah. So it's where you exchange the trades or whatever. But what happened is before that wasn't opted to us. In addition to that, how they changed the game is they allowed it to be free. See, before when you had a broker dealer, when you went to your bank and you opened up a fund, guess what? There was a commission to it. You had to pay a fee and all this other stuff. Even with Fidelities and all that other stuff until last year, you still had to pay $6.99, $12.99 a trade or whatever. Now most of them are done, and then you could actually, most of them are already done, and they're free. Just about everybody's free right now. Cool.
Yeah.
So if everybody's free to do, and we're just saying everybody's free.
I mean, all of the broker dealers, they're not charging fees anymore for regular trades.
Okay, so nobody's charging fees for regular trades.
Most of them, once
you can get up and do
went free, most of the other ones follow suit.
Okay, so let's talk about it. What's the difference between an IPO and a share?
Okay, cool. So as we said before, IPOs, that's the initial traded company, a public offering. So that is the company. The IPO just means you just got out there. You have been private, now you public. And so you be an IPO, I think it's maybe a year, whatever, but a newly initial, that's your initial, right? You just got out there. Shares are what the IPO sells. Those are the ownership pieces. So when you become an IPO, what happens is the SEC says, this is the evaluation. Let's say the SEC, let's use a round number, says that your company is worth $1 million, right? $1 million. And so you can have, what is the math? 100,000 shares at $10 a share. That's the market cap. So that's what the shares are. So the powers that they go in and they do a forensic analysis of your financial statements, and they say you can issue out 1 million shares, right? And that's it. That's all you get to issue. And they're valued at $10 today. Now, how they make money is depending on supply and demand, that price will go up and down. So the IPO is the initial public price, the initial offering. That's what it is.
Okay. So if it's the initial offering, and that's what we're looking for, everybody's looking really to the IPO to go public so that they can get shares into it. What are the other benefits of having an IPO for people to buy publicly?
Okay, so let's make sure that we're clear. Let's back that up. The IPO is the initial public price, no more, no less. So once the SEC says this is how much it is, it's $10. The valuation is done, which we call a market cap. So let's say the market cap is 1 million, right? And 1 million, that means that the SEC said you can issue out, I think the number is 100,000, and then you can do them at $10 a share. So let's make sure that we are clear on that. We don't want to confuse anybody on that. Right. Now, and then the shares are called the $10 piece by piece. So now you want to talk about what are the benefits. So let's talk about, there are both benefits and extreme risks when you come with IPOs. So let me tell you about IPOs and their risks first. So when the price of a stock is based on market sentiment and market expectation. That's what makes it go up and down. It is the emotion of the investor. If the
greed and fear. Greed and fear, yeah.
Greed and fear, of course. So when an initial public offering is sent out, that is the SEC saying what the price is. That's not what the masses and the traders and the investors are saying what the price is. So when you get an IPO, that does not mean it's going to stay at that price. It's actually very risky, because you know who's holding those shares? There is a lockup period of where major investors, executives, board and directors, people that hold the larger portion of the shares, they have to hold on to it. They may even be employees. About 6 months, 9 months later, their lockdown period is done, and then they have the ability to sell those shares.
Okay.
Right? So just think about it. You obtain a new company, right? Acquire a new company. It's already had its culture. Everything was gone good. Another company comes in, absorbs it. They become an IPO. They done pissed off all the employees. They done sold all their stock because they mad. All right? It happens all the time.
Okay.
Another thing is that the market has not decided yet what the price is going to be. And so sometimes it might be a little bit better to wait until the market decides. Now, that is the bad. The good thing is that if you get in early with a company, and this is a company that you really believe in, you believe in the culture, you believe in the structure, you believe in the business model, you believe in all that, then you have a wonderful opportunity of getting in on the ground floor and possibly making a large return. So yes, there is a lot of risk that goes along with investing in an IPO, but we all know that without any risk, there is no reward.
Now that's a word to live by.
You're listening to The Sizzle.
All right, so we've talked about all this good stuff. We've gotten all this up in smoke, and now everybody knows what we're smoking on. And what we're smoking on is giving you information to get you back in the game and to get you winning in the game. But right now, we've really got to talk about what's going on with the dopest chick on your news line and on your timeline. Is we got to find out. Okay, Cimone, I know you're doing a lot. I know it's a lot of big things going on.
Yes, so, I feel like a Jamaican.
So
yeah, I got more jobs than I know what to do with.
Yeah, you do. I see that you're back in the office, and I see things are moving back, and we're getting back to a new norm. So tell us, what's new with you? What's going on with you right now?
So I have been having just an amazing time in my life. I never would have thought that this was going to turn into all of this, right? At once. And so what a difference that a day makes. So I've gotten some new appointments that I think are amazing. I would love to share with everybody. So the first one, which I think everybody knows, that I'm the president for the Michigan chapter for Minorities for Medical Marijuana. Big ups to M4MM and my whole family that is there. But I've also been appointed as the chairwoman for the business development for racial equity program in Michigan under the Michigan Marijuana Regulatory Agency, which is our regulatory agency that governs and issues the licensing in cannabis in Michigan. And why this is so important, because my group in this subcommittee that they put together, we are responsible for creating the language that will go into the bills and the laws in Michigan as it speaks for racial and social equity, to create pathways and tangible activities for people of color to participate in the cannabis space. And guess what? Y'all know the most influential woman in the room is the one who controls the wallet, and that's your girl. Right?
That's right. Yes,
so I thought that was going to be big, right? But God keeps doing it bigger and bigger for me. And I'm telling you right now, I wish I could tell y'all I was all of that, but I take no responsibility for any of this. I give all praises to God. The next thing that we were able to do is that there is a group called the National Cannabis Industry Association. It is the largest organization and oldest organization for legal cannabis in the United States. I mean, this boy is big. There are governors, congressmen, CEOs of major publicly traded corporations, and guess what? They got little old me. So I have joined the risk management and insurance group, where we will be helping with how the pathways and language will be created on the federal level. So this is an elite group of individuals who all own their own insurance agencies, and we will be creating pathways and tangible activities via social, economics, and education platforms to help individuals and major entrepreneurs to be able to navigate through this whole cannabis space.
You know, I just want our listeners right now to take a moment and just drink in what Cimone Casson just told you. This woman knows what she's talking about. She's well connected in her space, and she's ready to do what she's setting out to do. This is the time right now. If you guys want to get involved with somebody who's on the move, who knows what they're talking about, right at the ground floor with this IPO. I mean, I'm excited about this IPO. I'm excited about your company coming out, going public, Cimone. I mean, I couldn't think of anybody else that I could see leading this group out. You know what I'm saying? I think you're right out in front. Can you give our listeners a little bit more about your company? Why they should believe in you? Why should they believe in this company that it's going to go and do be a big player in this segment? Because right now it's wide open. I mean, right now, like you said, there's not a lot of people, and we know a lot of people get involved in the cannabis situation here in the United States. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and there are going to be more players. You might not get an opportunity like this again to be involved in an IPO this early. Tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us a little bit more about you and why should people get involved?
Well, definitely. So one thing is that the biggest thing is that you want to look at the management of a company and the founders, right? And I think that's really, really important in any kind of investment, whether you're doing a startup or co-op farming or whatever. You have to understand, about the founders. One, our company has been listed on the Better Business Bureau with a AA rating since its inception. That's the first thing. Second thing is my reputation is impeccable, right? And so anybody that does business with me, period, they always say these great things. And listen, y'all, they don't even make me pay them. They don't even ask me for no money for them to say great things. They just say it. And I say that it's not about me. It's about how I actually do business. Right. So with this IPO, why is this a great idea? So if we look at the state farms, the all states, even AIG, they all became triple and 100% or better, or came in inception out of a pandemic. That's what insurance does. They come out of crisis, right? So whether it was the Great Depression or whatever, insurance always changes, and people always look to insurance when a catastrophe happens, right? The other thing is that the market is very, very small. So we're solving two problems. One, the first problem is that we're creating a competitive market for cannabis businesses to be able to participate. And so because of that, they will pay premiums, but their premiums will look more like what it should reflect instead of them being raped by the underwriters that are there. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we are creating a pathway where individuals will be able to invest in our company with as low as $250 all the way up to $10,000.
Hold on now. You're running past that. So you mean to say I can get involved into a brand new industry from the ground floor that could possibly grow as big as all these other insurance agencies that I know of for $250.
Yep, for $250. And let me tell you why. Under Regulation CF, the minimum is $250, the maximum is $10,000 that you can put in. Now, there's a couple things that I had to do to protect the company. One, we do have a vetting process. So just because you have $250 in your purse, does that mean that we are going to take, or your wallet, does not mean that we're going to take it. There has to be, we set a realistic expectation of that it's going to be at least tied up for at least 3 years. The reason why it'll be at least 3 years is because we have 12 months to raise the first $1 million, and then we have 24 months to raise $40 million, which will be the actual amount that we will need to go public. So the expectation is actually set. Now, we want to be able to offer this at a low cost so that more people because before these options were only granted to people who were accredited investors, people that had $250,000 or more. We want to offer this at a low income investment, but we want to make sure that we create a positive and definitely realistic way of being able to get your return. When you hear about scams and you watch American Greed, you got to think about it like this. Somebody says, hey, I invested my whole retirement.
Yeah.
Now, the only reason some fool would invest their whole retirement is if somebody told them, one, they gave them an unrealistic expectation on the return on investment. They gave them an unrealistic idea of the time frame, and then they gave them an unrealistic idea of what the actual investment was and where it was coming from. We're not doing any of that. So it has to be, we are doing truth and great character. So this is not a Ponzi scheme. You ain't got to bring nobody else in for you to get in. Right. This is not a loom. This is not a multi-level marketing. This is investing in a pre-IPO. Why is that important? Because in most cases, the money is made in the pre-IPO because you're able to get the company at the ground level. And once it goes public, if the company is doing well and if all things being equal, the public price will be a lot higher than the price that you came in on.
Wow, this is like great information, man. Anybody out there listening to this, Cimone is giving you a gem right here. She's giving you some financial information that you'll be able to get somewhere else, but you're getting it right here. And you're with a woman who's saying, look, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. I'm being upfront about everything. And I'm letting you know this is the time to get in, because if you're trying to wait till later on, you're trying to get in 2, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, it might cost you a lot more. So this is something, look, it's just fantastic.
Well, this is the thing. Also, they got to know, I hold too many chairwomen seats.
Yeah.
For me to be out here lying to people, because y'all can find me. You know
I know
what I'm
that's
saying?
right. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about what I do is that I get a chance to represent some of the biggest names, organizations in the cannabis space. And you got to understand, that ain't no knick-knack. You know what I'm saying? These people are going behind somebody who's stealing and, maneuvering. All that. So I not only have a fiduciary responsibility to individuals who are investing, but I also have a civic, a community, and a career responsibility to the organizations who have blessed me with their kind of stamp of okay. But I do want to tell you guys about a free event that I have coming up.
Woo, go ahead, girl.
All right, cool.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So, me being the dope chick that I am, I am in love with building wealth, right? And so I am offering a free 5-day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-day tutorial where I want people to come in. So you'll be able to go to my website and you can join the landing page so that you can get the click funnel and you'll be able to do it. So y'all check this out. It's going to be so cool. On day 1, we are talking about global investing and global diversification. I will be going to Ghana, and the people who are sponsoring me, I'm actually interviewing her, and she's going to tell you about how you can diversify your portfolio and diversify and globally investing in Ghana. On day 2, we are going to talk to my friends from Jamaica. They have a co-op farm. It's a hemp farm, and they are actually, they're doing crowdfunding. They're raising $250,000, and you can become an investor in their co-op farming and get a dividend every quarter. But it gets even better. If you want to invest in a startup company, a company that's actually just beginning, or you want to start investing in a startup company or even start one of my best friends who is a cannabis consultant and a lobbyist, he's gotten lots of businesses to get started. I'm interviewing you, and he's going to tell you all the nuts and bolts. And then if you're looking for income and everybody wants a little pocket change, I got one of the top Forex traders that's going to be hollering at me and telling everybody how they can create income. And then, of course, last but not least, is me, the dope chick. And I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about investing in pot stocks. This thing is going to be amazing, and you don't want to miss it.
When is this happening? Tell the people how to get involved with this. Tell them what they
So
go
wonderful.
sign up.
So what they can do, so what they can go is they can go to www.ccimonecasson.com. There'll be a pop-up, and then immediately all they have to do is put their information in. It'll say 5 days of building wealth. Put their information in, and then an email will be sent to them on how they can log on and start their 5 days. So the kickoff will be early September. We're just waiting to finish everything out, but the pop-up will be up now.
Well, I'm going to sign up today, and I'm going to make sure I got the big smiley face on there. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to learn everything you was just talking about, because I need to do some Jamaica. I need to go some Ghana. I need to all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't that amazing? I was like, oh my God, this is all about building wealth. So 5 days of building generational wealth, and we just gonna knock that thing out.
You know, I am so excited. I think while you were talking, I went to look at it myself just to sign up so that I'm ready. I want to be there.
Oh, you got there before me. See that?
Oh, yeah. I got to get my spot. No, I'm holding the spot for you, though, bro. I'm not going to let you. I'm holding the spot, but I got to get there. It's so important right now about what it is when we talk about finances and building generational wealth. And I know that your time is limited, so we're going to wrap. But before we wrap, I know that you have been active politically and what's going on in not only just the Black Lives Matter movement, but what's going on socially and politically within our country. So before we wrap, I just want to ask you, what do you think? What are your thoughts about what's going on culturally within the African American community as we move forward in this country, moving to an election and moving forward financially? What are your thoughts and what do you think about what's going on?
Well, I'll tell you right now. We all know that there has to be so much change, right? And so what that means, though, there's definitely change because we oftentimes are and have been since slavery, systematic racism, right? And so these systematic racism things that go on, it's from job placement, from housing, red tape, Jim Crow laws, all of these different things that definitely stand in our way. I think the thought of the shooting reminds me of the public lynching.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we see this over and over and over again on social media or wherever it is that look here, you still a N-word, and I'll do with you what I will, right? And so what it does to me, what I equate it to, it creates a sense of fear and a sense of anger that only helps it mimic itself over and over again, right? Yeah. So the more we see it, it's almost like, that one thing that you don't want to happen, but you make it happen over and over and over again. Right. Since we've had this, there has been no stopping or any shortage of the shooting of unarmed Black men, right? And so the violence has started to increase, the anxiety has started to increase, the fear is increased, and if you're constantly in fear, what are you going to do? You're going to react fearful. Right? So you got fight or flight, right? So we have the systematic racism. Then we have the layer of the lynching. And then now we have the seduction of the Black vote, right? So everybody right now wants to tell me how important racial equity and social equity is. I'm not no fool. You ain't gonna have this conversation with me come November 4th.
Absolutely correct.
You're gonna talk to me up until November 3rd. And so that's why I ain't gonna lie to you, I'll be honest. I go out here and I ask these corporations and everything from every dollar that they spend, because I know they breaking up with me come November 4th. I need to get everything I can.
Absolutely right.
I'm just going to be honest with you. So I say all of this to say is that, one, we have to be more collective. One of the things that hurts me the most is that, and mind you, I believe that all races have different agendas within their subcultures.
Right.
But I wish that we could actually have a collective agenda that more than 20% of us actually aligned with. I think that that would be very, very good. The other thing is that I wish that we could get to a place where we could have more Black leaders and not Black managers. I feel like right now that most of the individuals, we don't have a Malcolm X or a Martin Luther King anymore that had a strong agenda. We have people who manage the Negroes, right? That they throw money to something and they do a big social media thing,
right,
and let everybody know, and then we share it and we clap. But at the end of the day, when the last time I seen your ass in the hood?
right.
Right. So I don't think that we have Black managers. Last but not least, I wish that we would take our voting process and economic development into more seriousness. What people have to understand is that people have died for you to vote, and that more importantly, this election that we're with Trump is very, very important. But let me tell you what's even more important. What happens on your civil every day is your local elections. And people need to start turning out for those. The shit that Trump is doing, it's 4 years before you will feel that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the stuff that, like, he's out, and we're just not really feeling the strong, narrative of this man being just a racist. Well, hell, he's been a racist the whole 4 years, but it took us 4 years to really be impacted by it. But your local, your cops, your judges, and all that other stuff, that hits you immediately. So you got to be able to do that. And then last but not least, collectively looking at dollars. Right now, we have more entrepreneurs than we probably have had, because you can pick up your phone and you can get your message out there. But collectively, we have to understand about insurance, creating generational wealth, and understand the person that controls the conversation is the person that controls the wallet.
Cimone, I'm hearing everything that you're saying, and I understand the frustration because you're looking for a place to start. How can we get everyone collectively thinking the same way? Because I know in the Black community, you have your more educated Black people in the community, and you have those people who are not so educated, and they tend to not be together that often. They tend to separate themselves, And so the question is, how can we get those two, the educated community and the non-educated community, can we find common ground so that we can pull everybody together so we can start moving forward? Do you have any ideas of where a person who is educated, a person like yourself, a person who's listening to today, how can they go back into the hood or back into the neighborhoods? What can they do to possibly help move this situation forward?
Well, I'll tell you what I do. One of the things that I think a lot of people, even on state and the national level, I'm recognized for my participation in my neighborhoods, right? So I moved to Chicago when I was 20 years old, stayed there for 20 years. Y'all don't start asking me how old I am, I'll cut your face. But then I moved back to a small town called Muskegon, Michigan, which is where I grew up in the Heights, right? And so this is where I pay taxes. This is where my mother lives or whatever, and I'm a big part of my community. I do community cleanups and everything else. So no matter how high, I can go and sit and have dinner with the governor or lieutenant governor or whatever. No matter how high I am, I still go back to my hood and I do cleanups. I participate in the things that I want. I think we got to get to the point where we're all human beings, right?
Yeah, right.
So as much as I tell you I'm going to Ghana or whatever, I'm doing whatever, I also go out into the neighborhood, I get mad respect and I holler. And I'm not saying everybody has to do that. But what I'm saying is we have to get to the point where we don't believe our own BS, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So know where you come from, know who it is, have an agenda, don't be afraid of your own people, and then try to figure out ways on, this is the thing. Everybody wants to have an opinion on social media, but do you know participating in a food bank once a year could help You see what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be bigness. You don't have to put up that you gave $1,000 to your neighborhood or whatever. So, I mean, it could be something small. I used to volunteer when I first moved back. I used to volunteer at the local soup kitchen here. But you know what I did? I did it every Monday when I was in Chicago. So it wasn't something that was new to me.
Right, yeah. Right.
So get back into the point of having a servant's attitude.
Yeah.
Right. So that's very, very important. The other thing is making sure that you participate on a level that will not only just help others, but I think we definitely need a leader. And I just don't, other than, Minister Farrakhan, I take that back. You know. But other than Minister Farrakhan, and whether or not you agree with everything he says or he doesn't say, he's consistent and ain't no dirt on his name. Right?
He turned out men.
Yep. So, and he turns out men. So,
yeah.
And Minister Farrakhan is probably the only man that I've never met that I love. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say definitely having some form of strong leadership. But one of the things that I see, and you probably talked about this, they fight amongst each other. Like the pro-black people, they don't even like each other. Like how all of y'all on the same page and y'all don't even like each other.
Absolutely right. Yep.
Right? So it's too much dissension for us to even follow you because you arguing with us. You talk about how we all supposed to get along, but you throwing that like you look crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So that's my thing. I don't put no negative energy out there. So
right.
Well, you know what? I think that's a good place to leave it. I think working together and being able to build just like we're building here, giving people information, giving the community information, letting people know how they can win, not only in the stock game, but in the game of life, how you can get over, how you can win. And so now you know how to maneuver. Now you know what an I.P.O is. Now you know what companies are doing it. And for those who didn't know, now you know one of the dopest chicks in the industry, and you got a personal one-on-one with one of the hottest chicks in not only the Midwest, but maybe the world.
Yeah.
You never know. We're speaking those things into existence. So we're just saying this is going to happen. This is great stuff. So Cimone, before we get out of here, I want you to leave your parting thoughts. What is it that you want to leave the people with?
This is an unprecedented time, and it's scary for a lot of us, right? It's very scary for a lot of us. But again, as I said, in most cases like this, crises like this create wonderful, wonderful opportunities of wealth. Now, let's be honest. It also creates opportunities for scams. So I want to make sure that you do your due diligence on any investment or money thing that you decide to do. I want you to make sure that you do your research, and I want to make sure that you put things in perspective on what your lifestyle is and your risk appetite, meaning your how much you can lose, how much you can stomach to lose, and how much you are willing to gain. So if you're able to do some of those things, take some courses, reach out to us and learn. We have plenty of courses for you. And then after that, go ahead out there and get that money.
Yeah, that's the key. Go and get that money. And that's what you have to do here on Hot Money. So listen, if you're looking for Cimone Casson, go right to her website at Cimone Casson. Sign up for the class. It's a 5-day free class. What you got to lose? Nothing. It's free, dog. Just go and do it. Just go and do it.
It's going to be fun, too.
It's going to be great. So, we've had so much fun. This has been a blast. This is one of the hottest hours we do. So we want to thank you, Cimone, for coming on and sharing your time with us and giving the people some information and some knowledge. Jay, is there something you got to say before we get out the door?
Hey, I just want to let the people know that make this moment right now, make this to be a movement so that you can move forward in this life, so that we can better our people. It's time to get involved, and you got opportunity right now. Get involved with one of the hottest women in the game right now. Go to her website. Go get signed up. Go get this free stuff that she's giving you, because you can't pay for this or not all that energy, and she's going to lead you on the way. Sign up right now.
Yeah, so before we go, Cimone, how do the people reach out to you if they want to catch you on any media? How do they catch you?
Well, everything is Cimone Casson, and that is Tinder, Christian Mingle, IG, Facebook, fan page, website, MySpace, Black Planet, anything is going to be CSimoneCasson.com. I ain't hard to find. YouTube, we got a new YouTube channel that's coming up, but they can always find me here with the SIZZLE Brothers, but everything is C. Simone Casson. And like I said, y'all want my Twitter handle, you want to swipe left, that's tell them to swipe left on me. Christian Mingle, God is good, I don't say nothing. Y'all find me there too.
You know what it is. You know who it is. It's the Sizzle, and this is the Hot Money segment.
Thank you for listening to the Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio.